Hi, welcome to the first edition of Badges. I'd like to introduce first Officer Joe Mignani, Jeffrey Belmore, and Lieutenant Michael Brogan. My name's Dave Irucci. Today we're going to discuss many topics that have to do with the town of Ashland and the citizens in it. First off, I'll let Lieutenant Brogan start off with maybe some tips on roof safety. We've had a lot of roof injuries, people falling off roofs. And Michael, maybe you can elaborate from there?
Part of the problem is people don't prepare because we had a mild winter last year. They're not expecting we're going to have a lot of snow such as we've had so far this year. There's heat tape that can be put under the roof. You can have a roofing contractor or somebody handy in the neighborhood put roof tape up, and then when you have a heavy snow, plug that in, and that melts the snow away from the edge of your house. Or if you can get something, it's called a snow rake, that you can stand on the ground, reach up, and shovel the first 3 or 4 feet of snow off the edge of the roof. That way, the ice won't build up, causing the water to back up into your roof and then causing damage inside your house.
Thanks, Mike. Joe, how about Jeff, give me a break, will you?
David, stop rocking. You're driving me crazy.
No, I'm sitting next to Pat Kelly. You keep rocking this chair. I'm sorry. That's a nervous habit.
Should we continue?
I'm sorry.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Keep
I'll
your
end
hands
with
down.
thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
So shall we talk about the dangers of sledding with all the snow out here?
A couple of questions, though, Mike. I wanted to ask about the roof safety. Sometimes traveling and patrolling some of the neighborhoods, especially when we had the large amounts of snow on the roofs. Seen a lot of people working by themselves.
Mm-hmm.
If they're going to do that, wouldn't it be a good idea to have somebody with them so if anything happened?
Absolutely. Part of the problem is people think that they can do more than they actually can do. They try to get themselves in situations that they think they can handle when actually they can't handle them. For example, if they put their ladder down in soft snow and they get up, the higher they get away from the ground, it tends to tip more. If they have it on an icy gutter or something like that, it's apt to slip and fall, and they're going to fall. They should have somebody at the base of the ladder holding it to make sure that it's not going to go anywhere. And then if they do have get into trouble, they can have somebody right there to call for assistance.
Okay, so it'd be a good idea for the people out there, if you're going to do that, to at least have another person with you, someone that's capable of helping you.
Right.
Maybe not a young child or maybe your wife, but maybe another adult, male adult to help you in
Right.
those type of situations would be helpful.
You're sexist, Mignani.
Well, I know my wife couldn't hold the ladder for me. I mean, my weight and such would be, she'd let me fall, I'm sure.
My wife could help me fine.
Thanks, Mike. One of the things that we're going to talk about tonight was sledding accidents. And I know now that we're taping this show, there's not much snow on the ground because of all the rain and warm weather that we've had. But we're still in winter. We still have all of February to contend with, and I'm sure that we'll still get some more sizable snowfalls so the kids could sled. What did I say wrong now? Did I say something wrong? What did I say wrong?
That's a problem with firefighter Rusi here. I don't know.
What did I say wrong?
You can rock your chair if that's going to be a problem,
Yeah,
David.
great.
What did I catch? Hey, did I say something
It
wrong?
sounded good to me, Joe.
Yeah, keep
What did I say
going.
wrong?
Carry on, Joe. Disregard, Joe. Carry on. By all means.
No, I didn't.
Anyway, all right, we'll clear.
It's not getting any cooler in here, is it, huh?
No.
It's getting
It's getting
warmer. It's going to smell like the tunnel pretty soon. Okay,
Carry on, Joe. We're sorry.
that's okay. With respect to the snow mounting on the ground throughout the rest of the winter, today what did I say that was wrong? Tell me, did that sound wrong? Time out for a second.
Let's just get it out, all right?
Tell me, what did I say wrong?
David, what's so funny?
I don't know. All I hear is
How do you
Dave
measure
go.
snow? I want to know how to measure snow. Maybe that's the reason.
Let's just get on with this thing.
Bear with us for a minute.
David, you
He's
look
got
like you've been
tears coming out.
crying.
The next time we do the show, can I suggest a rocking chair?
And will somebody turn the air conditioner on?
We're fine. All right.
No, Barbara turned it off.
Oh,
Can we
baby.
start again?
No, Barbara
From
turned
where we
it off.
were?
I think they're still going.
All right, we're still going. I'm sorry, Dave. Paul. That's right, your brother's in Camp Juno. Did you know that? He's riding his bike all over the place. I'd say something else, but you can see.
I'm turning this back on.
Right. Okay.
No, okay.
Sledding, Joe.
if I say winter accumulation, you can just step back.
I don't know
What shall I say something different?
No, that's fine.
Okay, yeah, it's fine for you, I'm sure.
Just bop on one.
Um,
Calm down.
I just lost my train of thought because of you.
Winter accumulation.
Winter accumulation,
Of snow.
amounts.
Sledding?
In sledding accidents. Now, in school today, when I was doing the DARE program, there was a young girl sitting on a wall waiting for her mother to take her home, and she was in a neck wrap. And I asked what had happened to her, and she said that it was a sledding accident, that she was on one of those plastic tubes, and she had gone down the hill and was projected off the tube and landed on her back and hurt her neck, and she's going to be in this brace for 2 weeks. And this was one of the issues that we wanted to discuss tonight, was the issue of sledding accidents. And already I've seen one young girl today in Ashland that had a neck injury. Thank God it wasn't a serious injury, but something that could be corrected with a brace and rest for over a period of time. So I guess what I would like to bring up is what parents could do to help protect their kids as they're sledding, and some of the precautions that we need to use for having winter fun in sledding and sliding on some of the hills in town.
Well, is it the tubes that's the problem, or is it the jumps that the people are making?
It's probably a combination of the two.
Yeah, because the tubes have been out for a while, right?
Right, and there's little plastic sheets that they use that they call them roll-up wraps,
Yeah.
and there's really not much protection on them, especially if you're sliding down. There's the very, very thin pieces of plastic, and if you're going to be going over any bumps or any terrain that has bumps, you're going to be putting some compression to your back, and possible compression injuries to your back. So these are the things that we just like to bring attention to the parents. Anybody that's overweight like myself, I'm sure if we went down on those tubes and went down, we would pick up some speed. Knowing the law of physics, you're going to pick up some speed. And if you went over one of these jumps that the kids make, you're not going to have control over that tube. And you could have a problem. You could land on your back or your neck area and have serious injury. So you should take those precautions, or at least be made aware of them again. And just use your head.
And you're not getting any younger, so your
God,
bones
no.
are
No, I think
quite
I
brittle.
I don't know how brittle I am, but I'm not brittle. Yeah, Mike's brittle, but I'm not.
Mike,
I think they should stay away from trees. Don't sled where there's any trees. You can't dodge them. Sometimes it takes a wrong turn and boom.
well, that's another problem with those tubes, is you can't steer
There's no
them.
control.
Good point, because they just go in a straight line wherever it is, and bang.
I was surprised to see people sliding down the hill across from Shaw's when they've got Spyglass Hill
Oh,
and Route 126 right there.
Wow.
Absolutely.
And the police have been over there to stop them doing it on a couple of occasions. It's a very steep hill, and I imagine you get some speed up, and again, you don't have any control over it. It's got to be dangerous.
It has to be. I mean, we've had to go over there, like you said, Lieutenant, and ask the people not to sled, down that hill. And unfortunately for us, we haven't had any serious accidents. It's unfortunate that I believe, what was it, not Lowell, but
Lynn.
in Lynn, where they had that tragic accident of the two kids going down on a piece of tarpaulin down these stairs, snow-covered stairs, and right into a vehicle. That could have easily happened on 126 on Spyglass Hill Road, where it
Right.
enters into a major roadway.
Yeah.
So
And it's a blind corner coming from Hollis, and
extremely blind
nobody
corner.
would see you.
And the snowbanks are so high that
Yeah.
the oncoming traffic really wouldn't see the kids sliding down the hill, and it wouldn't be the driver's fault.
Yeah.
Or any road that has any hill. I know President's Row has a couple of spots that it just ends right at the street, and you just go right out in the street. And sometimes, the icy roads, even if the driver does see you, you slam on those brakes, you hit ice.
Right.
So just stay away from the streets altogether. Stone Park, I think. Just slide right down the middle of Stone Park, no trees. Well, right where you're sledding anyway, in the streets.
Yeah, no trees in Stone Park, that's right, yeah.
Well,
So
in the sled area.
Oh, in the sledding
In the
area.
snow, well, they call it Snow Hill.
Right, let's use our common sense here, Lieutenant.
Right.
So it'd be up to the parents to make sure they know where their kids are sledding?
I think they should go with them. I mean, that's another safety
Oh, I
thing.
agree.
Well, yeah.
One chaperone is fine, Maybe the parents can get together and say, yeah, well, I'll watch the kids, Monday, you watch them Tuesday.
Depends how old they are. I mean, the
Yeah,
kid, the
that's true.
little girl that died in Lynn was 13,
Right.
You say,
Yeah.
Mommy, can you come sledding with me at 13 years old? That's not about to happen. You got to be realistic,
Yeah, that's true, too.
You have to hope that the kids use common sense themselves, or have the parents remind the children, where to go, or make sure that parents know where their children are going to go sledding.
Is that pole still working in Stone Park, the emergency?
Yeah, there's a fire alarm box in Stone Park, so if there's anybody gets hurt, it's got a button for an ambulance request, and it's got a button for a fire request, so you can, you know, if there's a fire, they press the top button. If it's a medical emergency, they press the bottom button.
And that's over by the basketball courts?
That's right.
Right.
I know some of the local golf courses are restricting the use of their green areas for sledding because there've been so many accidents.
And liability,
And
sure.
the liability aspect of it, so, and when we were younger, we used to be able to go over the Framingham Country Club or in Marlboro and use their slopes, but not now.
You can't go to Framingham anymore?
I was told that there was some no trespassing signs, but I don't know if that has to do with just the regular no trespassing on the grounds period or just for the
That's interesting.
winter season.
Well, that may be a good idea, you know, in some of these areas like Spyglass, is maybe having a sign put up that says danger, no sledding or something, in certain areas.
Maybe probably.
I don't know how many places in town there are.
Maybe someone
Right.
from the Spyglass management will be watching this and get a couple
Well, maybe that
ideas.
would be a good idea to sit down and maybe somebody from that area would direct that to the management company, maybe post some of the signs.
Now, on the same grounds, what about ice? Is it safe to go out there now? I mean, it's getting a little warm out there.
At the fire department, we never ever tell people that the ice is safe, again, because of a liability issue. You know, if you say that the ice is safe and somebody falls through, well, then certainly legally you're liable, but morally as well. I mean, tragedies happen quite often in Ashland. You know yourself. We pull people out of the mill pond, out of the Ashland Reservoir, and we never ever tell them that the ice is safe.
I have a good rule of thumb. I told my wife also, don't go on it, you know. Go to a skating rink. That's the safest place because I fear ice because of that situation. We've seen people fall through and we've had to go and get them out.
The catch is a
It's
little
just-
slim, though, down there at the ice rink. If you
Yeah.
want to go ice fishing, it's a little tough.
Oh, ice fishing, yeah, but ice fishing's adults, responsible adults. I'm talking the children on.
Well, what are some
skating and stuff.
realistic tips that we can give them? Because I mean, skating on like the reservoir, you have so much more room and there's not that much more people. So if they have to skate on the ice, I know we can't tell them it's safe, but what are some of the signs that the ice is just definitely don't even bother?
I would
going
use
on
the inlets. I think using the areas that do not have a lot of flow of water, current water, strong current, at least where the water has an opportunity to freeze with some depth. That would probably be a good idea to use.
Right.
So maybe at the beach around that area?
In that area, and as a matter of fact, if you take a look at the ice fishermen, that's where they're usually are in that little beach area, in that cove area. They're not way out there in the middle.
Right. Not
So
that we're
we-
suggesting to trespass or anything like that, but
It's not public property. They can go out there and fish.
But at the same token, it's and they're open during the daytime. It's at night when you're not supposed to be
Oh.
out there. So,
I wouldn't advise anybody to be out there at night anyway.
no. And I think that's when we had that accident. Was that
The
night?
snowmobile.
The snowmobile.
Right.
Yeah.
And again, it comes down to common sense and what you should remember.
And then-
Icing on the roads too. We have people that are still health conscious and they need to jog, or they still want to continue jogging. They also have to remember that when we had a lot of snow, the roads were narrow, and we had some icing situations, but yet people still wanted to go out there and continue their daily jog. Some of them were still jogging two abreast, and that made it difficult. You had to watch out for the oncoming traffic, plus people on the side of the road. And if you have to jog, try not to do it during rush hour traffic or early morning hours, and run after traffic. And if you have to run during traffic, run single file, not abreast.
I think it's more pronounced at this time of year because there's been so much snow and the snow banks are along the side of the road. And I say this most times when I meet with people, groups. I tell the children when I meet with children, go home and make sure that they tell their parents if they're in their car, make sure they tell their parents if they hear a police car, fire truck, or an ambulance coming. They have to pull to the side of the road and stop. It's very, very difficult this time of the year because the roads are narrower for a car to just pull to the side of the road and continue going 35 or 40 miles an hour because us people in the emergency response vehicles have to go 45, 50, or 60 miles an hour to pass them to get to the scene of emergency. And if it's happening in both lanes of traffic, the oncoming traffic continues to go at 40 miles an hour, and the traffic you're trying to race continues to go 40 miles an hour. It's a very, very dangerous situation. And I just can't say that enough. If I'm on the show again, I'll probably bring it up because every time I go on a call, you have cars that just won't pull over and stop.
Sometimes people forget that the protocol is to pull over to the road as far as possible, whatever the road allows you to pull over, and come to a stop, not to a slow crawl,
Right,
whatever,
exactly.
but come to a stop to allow the emergency vehicles to pass you, and then they can proceed
And
after you leave.
that should be both lanes too,
Both
right?
lanes.
It is.
That is
because-
both
right.
lanes.
That's the law.
And if you're behind somebody and the person in front of you pulls over to stop, don't pass them.
Yeah.
That happens a lot too.
Yeah.
All of
They
a
do.
sudden,
Right.
just pass. That's
It's
very,
very
very
And
dangerous.
then you have some people that are not aware of their surroundings. They see one vehicle pull over. They may not realize that you're
Right.
behind them.
That's right.
They-
For whatever
just,
reason, the stereo's on, and they have a problem that they're concerned about and that they're thinking about. So again, we have to also be aware that those people that are driving may have something else on their mind other than what we have to do.
Yeah, a simple glance in the mirror before they pull out,
Oh,
but
absolutely.
that's good driving habits, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And then we try to drive safely too, even though our speed has increased a little bit. We're trying
Right.
to
We need to get there
keep
safe
in
for
mind,
ourselves.
yeah.
Right.
Sometimes now, especially during the winter time, we need to let other people know the response time may be a little longer because the road conditions don't prompt us to go faster. We need to be safe and keep ourselves safe to get there, because if we don't get there, the service is not going to be
Right.
provided for those
Exactly
who need
right.
it more than we do.
Speaking of roads, I know this time of year there's a lot of potholes. Just all of a sudden they're there. You know, one day they're not there, and the next day they are. So, watch out for those, and especially if it's a lot of icing going on this time of year as well.
Yeah, we see a lot of the elderly in the center of town walking,
Right.
and the sidewalks aren't that great. Then they try to veer off into the road to make it to the stores and
Right.
stuff. You know, you got to keep on your toes and make
And we
sure that
as-
no one's going to get hurt there.
We as people, we're creatures of habit. If we travel one route to work every day, if something is wrong with it, there's a detour or whatever, they have no idea which way to turn around or which way to go. And they get quite upset with the officers or anybody that's out there saying, is there another way to go? Well, if you've lived in this area for 10, 15 years, my goodness, if you don't know another alternative route, we have a problem here. I think what they should do is be aware of, or be more familiar with their town and just drive around. Find some other alternative routes that, especially if a road has potholes, it'd be a good idea to do.
That's another thing I noticed is the town has a lot of increased traffic. You know, the surrounding towns, they're coming through Ashland to go to work, and it's just, I can remember a time when 5 o'clock, you look out my front window on Main Street and there was no traffic. Now the traffic's backed up waiting for the street lights and stuff. So there's a lot of increased traffic in the area.
I was told not to bring about when we were young, because we can't compare today and what
Yeah.
it was like way back when. Because when we were growing up, like Mr. Belmore over there,
There were trees in the park.
we had trees, yes. We had trees, we had barns, we had, only 7,000 people in the community. Now we have over close to 15,000,
Yeah.
a little over 14. So, yes, there's much more traffic on the roadway. Reading one of the things that I wanted to bring up, and it was really, I couldn't understand why people were making such a big deal out of the snow days for school.
Mm-hmm.
People couldn't understand why they were calling so many snow days. One of the concerns that I had was the safety of the children that are waiting on school bus stops, especially when there was a lot of snow on the ground along the side of the roadway. Kids are going to be kids. They're not going to stand there in single file and wait properly for a school bus. They see a snowbank, they're going to climb it.
Right.
They're going to slide down. So I mean, you have to use safety. Yeah, and if we have to delay school for 2 hours or an hour or not have it, it's only for the safety of the children for that particular day, not for the fact that we want to extend the school year. And I would hope that the people out there that wrote into the newsletter, the Middlesex News, and a lot of people said, oh, they should have school no matter what. Think about it. Maybe some of those people don't have children in school.
Right.
And,
Definitely not. Or maybe
they
they
want
do.
their children waiting, having traffic coming and possibly colliding with the kids as they're waiting, for the school bus.
Plus, we did have a few bus accidents.
Even when there was school.
That day that a lot of towns delayed it an hour, but Ashland went on time. But they had 2
Right.
accidents in that day with buses.
Right.
And
And they were minor, they were minor in nature, which was good.
Thank God.
But again, I mean, you have icy road conditions, the roads are narrow, and the bus has to get by. And people were trying to get out of work, but because of the icy conditions, the other oncoming vehicles would just slide right back
Oh,
into the
yeah.
buses, and that's basically what happened for those two
Mhm.
accidents. And we need to, use a little bit more common sense and.
That's all it
maybe
is.
delay.
It's all winter is, common sense. The bus is huge. You got 3 feet of snow, and people kind of understand why we
Right.
have to delay school.
Right.
Common
Just for
sense.
the safety of everybody. I know
Safety.
the school officials are more are worried about the safety of the children, and I know parents say, well, we have to get to school, or we have, pre-K the kids
Yeah.
have to go into, and let's just look at the safety.
And
of
for the
kids.
teachers too. I mean, not many
Right.
people, even realize that, hey, teachers may not live in Ashland. Some teachers may come from Worcester. That means they have to travel on 495 or whatnot to get to school. So for the teacher safety too. Just thought
Right.
I'd bring that up.
And it's the safety of everybody that's on the road at that
Right.
particular time of day. Well, what else we have?
Now we're into the season of rain here, and we're getting a lot of flooding. I think we were going to touch on
Sure, let's touch on it.
some
Let's wade through it.
people. A lot of basements are flooding, yards are flooding.
A lot of main breaks,
Yeah, that's happening too. The
Yeah.
changes, the temperatures.
underground even.
Very good, Jeff.
Yeah, it was an inside joke. You just had to be there.
What, do we have a water main break in the station?
No,
Oh,
we had a.
It's
that's
inside
why-
his head, Joe. It's an inside joke because I don't know what he's talking
Yeah,
about.
and I certainly don't.
Ah,
So
okay,
maybe
so
he
no.
can
All
elaborate
right,
on it.
we'll elaborate then. He and I were at the station. Oh,
He's
I would
bringing you
never
into it
happen
now,
again.
Mike.
So we're getting all kinds of calls for no water pressure, filthy water. Obviously, there's a water main break somewhere. So like 5 o'clock in the morning, he wakes me up and he says, "Hey, they found that water main break." I'm like, "Oh yeah, where was it?" He goes, "Underground." So I mean, that's all it is.
It's a good place for it.
That's right.
That's a good place for it. That the one that was on 135?
Yeah.
Yeah, because we had a lot of problems. Again, people were upset that particular morning because we had to narrow the lane down to one lane of traffic so that people could correct the problem. They see it. I mean, they could have easily veered off to Fountain Street and then go down to Framingham by Fountain Street. And again, they were upset because they were delayed or they were inconvenienced. I mean,
Right.
folks, and it was on the radio because they made the announcements on the radio. If anybody was listening to KOX or BZ, they did make those announcements that there was a major water break and look for alternative routes.
I think it was on Smart Routes as well. That there was
Was
a
it on
delay
Smart
there.
Routes? And again, I mean, people should know the areas. If you see a traffic problem, or you see a work area that's going to delay you and you're going to delay for work, try to find another alternative route. And unfortunately, sometimes people don't want to do that.
What do you notice most on a detail? When you have a situation like that, is there anything you want to tell the motorists? Oncoming traffic.
Be patient. I mean, the people that are out there to correct the problem, they're not out there to make anybody's life inconvenience for that day. I'm sure they have other better things to do. This was an emergency type of detail that had to be done, and just be patient with the work crew, and a little bit of courtesy would help keep things going smoothly. You get a couple of people that are upset all the time, and they have a few things to say, and it just doesn't make a good day of it for those that are out there that have to work, because they're trying to make life back to normal for those who are inconvenienced with not having any water.
And you pretty much welcome those comments when people go by and say
Oh,
something.
I love those comments. Yes, those are wonderful comments.
Yeah.
The rush hour motorist, I can only imagine.
That's why we get paid the big bucks, I guess.
I guess so.
I guess.
Mr.
So how you doing
Irucci.
there?
We're doing great. Joe, I did want to ask you, there's been a lot of calls coming into the police station in regards to people coming to your door, soliciting things. Do you have any input on that, for the public?
Yeah, one concern that the people in Ashland should be aware of is that any person that comes soliciting into the town, they need to register with the police. They're giving a green card, which is stamped by the police department, saying that they have a permit to come into town. And I would wish that anybody that comes door to door would ask to see that particular card. If they don't have that green card that's issued by the town, they're not licensed in the town to solicit, and they're soliciting illegally. And all they should do is just give us a quick call down to the station. And sometimes people come into town and don't realize that they need a permit because they have the state permit and they think that's all they need. But each town has adopted a bylaw that every solicitor should register with the town, and all it is the safety for the citizens. And if anybody has a problem or sees somebody soliciting illegally, comes to the door without the green card, give us a call. We're more than happy to send the cruiser up and talk to the individual or groups of individuals that may be canvassing a particular neighborhood, get their information and advise them. We'll give them a verbal warning, usually at first, advise them that they need to stop and pick up a card. And if they don't, and they're caught a second time, then they are arrested against the bylaw violation.
Now, the Girl Scouts covered under this?
Girl Scouts are definitely covered under this. That's okay.
Okay.
That's
So
great.
buy a lot of the Girl Scout cookies because I know they're canvassing right now.
Great. Obviously, it's been a very bad winter here. We have a lot of snow. I wanted to ask Michael, is there anything we can tell the public in regards to fire hydrants, shoveling them out?
Yeah, it's definitely beneficial if they do shovel out the hydrants. The water department this last year went out and they marked the fire hydrants with metal triangles on a piece of re-rod wrapped in the hydrant. A lot of those have been vandalized and stolen. We at the fire department went out after the second snowstorm to shovel out hydrants, and because of the sheer number of hydrants, we don't know where everyone is when we're on the road. We were only able to get the ones that were marked. So if the people that live in the neighborhood are familiar with where a fire hydrant is, I advocate that they do shovel it out. It's certainly for their safety. That'll make it easier for us to extinguish a fire, to maintain a water supply if there is a fire. The only reason the fire department had to go out there was because of the vast amount of snow and because it was getting to be an emergency situation. Had there been a fire, we wouldn't have been able to put it out safely. And again, we weren't able to get every single hydrant in a row. We got as many as we could, and if the neighbors or the residents of town could shovel out hydrants between them, it would.
A lot of them did too. I was surprised.
Yeah.
I want to thank the townspeople. People who had hydrants in front of their houses, they maintained them pretty well, and we really appreciate that. That helps us a great deal.
You're welcome.
Did
We
you
should
want
also-
to-
I should put mine out.
Also let them know if they do see anybody vandalizing those poles, give old Joe a call here. He'll call and take care of it.
When you say shovel out the fire hydrant, you're talking an area around the hydrant, just not a path of the hydrant, because you need to work around that.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be huge. Some of the problems we had when we were doing the hydrants after the storms was that we were trying to shovel ice. So we were able to shovel an axis and then a short area around it.
Right.
We would like us to have 2 or 3 feet around the whole hydrant. That would be ideal. And someone like yourself that has a hydrant in their neighborhood that maintains it or shovels it out every snowstorm, it's easy to do. The ones we were getting had snow that had been buried storm after storm after storm. It was a lot of ice. It was very, very difficult for us to do. It took a lot of time. For us to have been able to go out there and shovel 3 or 4 feet around the whole hydrant, we would have only got 10 hydrants done each because of the time it would have taken to chop away the ice. So what we did was expose them, found out where they were, and made it so that just good enough so we could make our hose connections to them.
And that is a vital source of fighting a fire, is to have that water supply.
Absolutely.
And if it's going to take you 10 or 15 minutes to get access to that hydrant,
Oh, that's vital time.
It sure is, absolutely. So hopefully the people out there, next time we have any more significant snowfall, they'll be able to remember that and help you folks out.
We had a fire recently, and it was on Central Street, and the hydrant was cleared out, and that made it much easier to attach to it. And
Minimize the amount of damage.
sure, sure.
Well, that's great. So congratulations to those people on Central Street that took care of their hydrant.
That's right.
Absolutely.
I don't know how much time we have left.
Well, I think we're just about done. Like I say before, this is the first edition of Badges, and it's police and fire together talking issues. If anybody has any questions of police or fire, please call us. You can call the cable studio, 881-1653, and we'll answer your questions. We're going to have it every month, and we look forward to talking again. Thank you very much.
Before we
Go
go,
ahead.
even send a letter to the specific departments if you have a question. Ours is 137 Main Street in Ashland, and if you have a question, just drop it off.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll land to take those questions as well.
70 Cedar Street for the fire department.
And just be careful out there.
You can address all your questions to Lieutenant Michael Brogan, and he will review them all and then get back to another show.
Well, this was good, Dave.
Very good. Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you.
It was fun.